Hello, I'm Michael, and this is Tarot by the Tree. We are working on describing the minor arcana now. We've worked through a couple of suits, and we're now in the some of the early cards in the Pentacles or coins. As mentioned, I prefer the word coins because of the connotations that pentagrams have, and I didn't want the coins to seem like something to do with the occult, and similarly, we use staves for wands because of the association. We're into coins right now. We're going to do a little review of coins. In the tarot cards, the coins are heralded as one of the big four suits, the four things that we must develop in ourselves. Happiness is not frivolity. Happiness is the energy that promotes good things in all the other areas of our life. Coins are like that. The saying money doesn't buy happiness, but lack of money can buy unhappiness is true. And it's not just joy we're looking at. We're looking at all the parts of your personal machine working well. And they can't if you are living for charity, if you don't have the means to take care of yourself at the basic level. So we're going to take a look. Coins start out with the ace of coins. Something is going to happen, and then we move to the two of coins. And a very quick review. Two of coins, say you're going to try to start to make money. You're going to be very busy. You won't be able to keep it up, but temporarily you can, and you try to learn all aspects. From there, in the three of coins, you can specialize. Maybe you have a talent for something, and with that talent, you can rise above all of the people. We are reminded with many famous people that go bankrupt later that it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And this card symbolizes rigorous saving as a means to financial independence. From there, we looked at Dark Night of the Soul, which happens when you run out of money and you cannot support yourself. And yesterday we looked at a card that resembles generosity, but we sort of see an arrested development of someone who is trying to appear wise, generous, and wealthy. This is a reminder that the coins, like power, joy, creativity, are primary and essential for growth. And we've also noted many times that sometimes the pursuit of money can often be seen as petty, and we're trying to put a more noble clothing on coins. The card we look at today is this card. It's the Seven of Coins. And it lives in the Sephra of Netzach, who is the charioteer. This Sephra has to do with the joining of intellect and emotion. The other side of this card is what happens when those two things are not joined. Imagination can run away with you, and intellect can just serve to heighten your awareness of possible dangers. This is the Chariot. It's about balance, the control of all aspects of your mind, and the charioteer is a dashing and mobile figure. We'll describe the card that we're looking at today. It does not resemble Netzach, but he had to get here. And for a time, he had met with a lot of success. And finally, it was time to demonstrate everything he had learned. And with all his abilities, his control of his imagination and intellect, he could try new things, but not just be governed by new ideas. He uses the tried and true. And despite everything, The results were not what he anticipated. There is a man on the right side of this card. He leans on his shovel. He seems dejected and disappointed. Beside him is the season's harvest. He has profited, but the harvest is meager, and in fact, the profits will barely cover his costs. He is a farmer in blue leggings and shirt with a brown tunic and boots. The sky above him is gray. He has risen in the past to an admirable degree, and yet a series of unfortunate events has drastically reduced his anticipated rewards. The meaning of this card. The road to riches is paved with difficulty. Again, look at the meaning of the card as it might apply to somebody. Your present situation is not how you see yourself. Remember that this is the dashing charioteer. He's now in the position of shoveling dirt, working hard, basically just to break even. He does not see himself as a participant in this situation, but he is. Disappointment can make you want to walk away, and the alternative of not walking away seems empty and bleak. We're looking at disappointment as one of the feelings, and we are in the suit of coins, and we are looking at how it might affect your earning or your ability to take care of yourself financially. It has to do with coping, with perhaps moving on in some other direction, and bearing up under sadness. Netzach, the Sephra, harnesses emotion and intellect and will not allow any emotion to hijack your mind. And that's a little bit about what this card is. Netzach is about control of your intellect and imagination. Now, he had the imagination. He planned irrigation and cultivation, seed selection, but he can't control the weather. And his harvest was not what he wanted. If he let his emotions run the show right now, he would be very tempted through sadness and the resulting self-doubt to walk away. But this is a suit of coins, and this is the road to riches. And as we said, there are many difficulties on that road. It's paved with difficulty. If he walks away, he will be throwing away a lot of effort and planning. There are a number of incentives to him soldiering on. Keeping in mind that's not always the best advice. If you're on a sinking ship, the advice shouldn't be hold on. Two questions come to mind with this card that we can all ask ourselves. So, number one, how do you respond to disappointment? You just ask yourself, when something disappoints you, what do you do? That could be an indicator of your general psychology. And we can all be honest with that. We can all think back to times that we've been disappointed. How did we react? Was there that walk away impulse? Was there anger? Was there blame? Was there self-pity? How you respond to disappointment may be sort of an idea of how your attitude is evolving in general. And question number two, when we become disappointed, are we really saying that we believe we deserve something better? Is that part of our sense of disappointment? How dare fate not give us what we think we deserve? So those are the two questions. Number one, how do you respond to disappointment in general? And question two, when we're disappointed, did we somehow believe that we deserved something else? The choice is sometimes to abandon the project or to make plans to improve next season. Either one of those can be viable options. Like we said, there's no point in staying on a sinking ship. However, a difficult road may involve making plans and changes each season, resulting in success eventually. We've mentioned before that all sadness is due to discrepancy. Discrepancy is the difference between what really is and what you want or expect. You have a choice. You can either change what is, or you can change your expectation. As a general rule, changing what is very difficult and may be impossible. Changing your expectation may be very difficult, but it's entirely possible. I think we'll move on to some of the questions now. We're dealing with the Seven of Coins, and the label we gave it is disappointment.
Is the man in the card sad or exhausted?
Yes, he is sad and exhausted, and we are all puppets and to our emotions. And that kind of disappointment isn't something you can brush off. It goes right to the core. And he's very tired. He's very sad. And that's the emotion he's going through at this moment. And there's no denying emotion. It's the most honest thing. It's what you do with the emotion that talks about our evolution as people. But at this point, he is exhausted. He's unhappy. And he may have to decide what to do next with his life.
Is this a card of total loss?
No. It's not a card of total loss, but in his state of mind, he might think to himself, if I hadn't done anything this year, I might even be a few dollars ahead because all my work and expense this year, if I'm honest with myself, I'm probably going to be down a little bit. So there is sort of that sense of futility. But again, these are just the emotions that are washing through him at this time.
What will he do next?
Well, that's the question. And because this is the suit of coins and because this is the Sephra of Netzach, who can link emotion and intellect, I think that he will go on to try again next year. And he will take all the things that he has now and he will reuse them to better purpose. And a number of perhaps mistakes that he made this year, he won't make again. I think it's onward and upward from here for him in this particular card.
Because just working hard doesn't mean you're working well or with knowledge or even logically.
I know somebody building a series of bad houses that fall down in 5 or 10 years. He's not really making any progress and he's not really doing any good. No, working hard is I just don't think it's a real high ambition. I don't think that it's something that if you hooked up an ox to a cart, you want them to work hard. But I don't think that's what we're about. And just because you work hard, no guarantees come with that.
Is there any good to being disappointed?
I think absolutely. I don't think it feels good at the time, and it can lead to abrupt decisions. But surely disappointment is just a necessary way to do better. It's part of experience. In a way, we sometimes think that every bit of knowledge and understanding we have came from a mistake we made. There's just so many mistakes. So I think this is just part of the learning process for him.
What is the opposite of disappointment?
I don't think it's joy. I think that might be if we looked at depression or unhappiness. The opposite of disappointed is acceptance. And we come back to all disappointment is due to discrepancy, the difference between what really is and what you want or expect. Acceptance is the opposite of disappointed or disappointment because we accept different things, different forces and powers come into our world and affect our world. And we decide this is either something we should abandon or if it's worthwhile, we move on despite temporary injury and hardship and obstacle.
Is there a moral to this card?
There's a saying that people say all the time that sounds trite, but it applies to this card. It is what it is. And the more I think about that, the more I like it and the more depths I think it has. So I think that's what acceptance is. And the cure for his disappointment is it is what it is.
The other view I had of that card is that here he's worked so hard and he's disillusioned by, if we're talking about the accumulation of money, and he's worked all this hard for so long, and what does it come to? What does it add up to? Money just doesn't give him joy, doesn't bring him pleasure.
You're making me think as you talk the difference between process and product. And there's a certain danger in keeping your mind on a certain monetary figure or a certain presumed out. And I think I'm sort of fitting in with what you were saying that what else would he have been doing with his time? I mean, he's working, he's growing, he's planning. Yeah, this outcome as a product might be disappointing, but the process he went through was probably the best use of his time, or at least it was a very good use of his time.
Which is a problem with people who say, when I am this age, this is going to happen, and then when I'm the other age, this will happen. They try to plan their future.
Yeah, and I just saw on YouTube this wise man was saying, stop telling people what you're going to do. And I think that's really good advice because we all know people, and we spoke just recently of this card and what his outcome will be. And in future life, he will be a person that will tell you slanted stories of how great he used to be.
Final thoughts.
We all face disappointment. Does disappointment bring out the best in us or the worst? And I think that's what I'll leave it on. Just how do we respond to disappointment? And that's it for today. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.